Welcome to the BII's brand new podcast, Not Just a Pub. With 10,000 members and growing, the BII is the leading membership organisation for licensed trade professionals, keeping pubs thriving at the heart of every community in the UK for over 40 years. We'll be speaking to a wide variety of industry professionals from across our creative and vibrant sector, sharing their stories and successes. You can find more information and listen to all episodes on the BII website now, www.bii.org.
My name's Peter from the British Institute of Innkeeping. I'm on the marketing team and I'm joined today with Rhona and Scott from Stonegate. So Rhona, Scott, thank you very much for taking the time to actually join us for our talk today. Now, this is actually our first time meeting. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourselves first?
Ro, do you want to take the lead?
Yeah, I was looking at you then, Scotty. Yeah, of course. Hello, I am Rhona. I am the Apprenticeship Manager for Stonegate Group, and I look after all things apprenticeship-wise within the business.
Oh, very concisely put. So I'm Scott. I work for Rhona. My job title is Back of House Training Manager. So we write content, we help people get onto apprenticeships, we support them through them, we take them through the next steps once they've been signed off. That's basically my job in a nutshell.
Excellent. Yeah, very concise, both of you. Well played. So I understand that you guys actually won one of the awards for Best Training Programme for Apprenticeships in our National Innovations and Training Awards earlier this year. We are going to touch upon that a little bit later on, but could you just first tell me a little bit about the role that apprenticeships play in your business?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Scotty, if you want. So apprenticeships kind of came full steam ahead into our business around about 2017. But previous to that, when it was frameworks rather than standards, we had it running right the way throughout the business at site level. So we'd have, I think at one point we had over 1,000 apprentices on one programme at any time. Once the levy came into play, my line manager and great friend Jamel Bish, HR Manager of the Year, NITAs 2022, just thought I'd get that in there for her. She had a crazy idea that we would utilise the levy and put a lot of our energy into developing our chefs. So thinking about a quite under-resourced team and thinking about how we were able to provide them with tools, self-development and support from us. From that, we've expanded quite a bit. We have created our own internal workshop, which kind of starts with almost like the basics of what's expected within Stonegate, which has been really successful. Mm-hmm. And then we've now opened a pathway from a level 2 right the way through to a level 5 for our chefs, starting off at production chef, then going into leadership and management, more side of the qualifications, a level 4 and obviously a level 5, where they have an option there to either do a coaching qualification or the ops manager as well. We also have our wonderful pathway AIMS, which is Albert's Interesting Map to Success. We've branded it as that, and that's aimed at all of our pub support teams. So we offer a huge variety of apprenticeships, going from finance, which is a minefield within itself, looking at HR, CIPD. We've even got a PR communications apprenticeship in there. Yeah, it covers absolutely everything. It's great.
Nice one. Yeah, I mean, it does sound like it's very very in depth what you've got going on and still developing. Did you say? Yeah, hands-on is one way to put it. Yeah. Scott, before I move on, did you have anything to add to that?
So I've sort of seen it from the other side, really. So I came into Stonegate, if I can give you a bit of background about us, as a chef. Wasn't really, I'd done it previously before, hated it, said I'm never going back to work in the kitchen. It was horrible. And then I ended up back in a different site, and I was like, well, I'll just do this till I find something else. I've always worked in hospitality, but normally front of house. So moving back of house was a bit of a culture shock for me.
Sure.
And then I just started doing the internal programme at first. So that was Evolution Level 2 at the time. It's now Evo 1, as Rhona's just talking about. So mastering the basics, really, having a look at the financials and stuff. And I was like, actually, I do enjoy learning, but I'm more practical. I went to uni for a bit and dropped out because there was nothing practical. It was all theory. And I can't work like that. I need something to manipulate, something to do. And then I got into the apprenticeship. So from that, I went from level 2 to level 4. Really, really good. Took me from being a kitchen team member, having worked in a kitchen for like a couple of months before, to running a kitchen, and then supporting an area of about 15 different kitchens as well, while running my own, which was really interesting. So that was a bit of a learning curve. So that happened within 18 months.
That's a pretty short time frame, considering all things considered.
Yeah, it was a learning curve, I'm not going to lie, but massively helpful for my development. It also took me into my current role as a training manager now.
I stole him.
Yeah,
stole him for my team.
Too right. So yeah, really good. I mean, it's turned a job into a career, hasn't it? A job that I probably wasn't going to stay in if there wasn't anything for me. If I'm being brutally honest, I was doing it because I needed some beer money and I had rent to pay.
And I doubt you're the only one who was in that situation though as well, right? And I think
Absolutely.
it's really interesting, the point you touched upon about how your previous experience with learning through university was all very theory based, and that didn't connect with you as well. And how I guess doing an apprenticeship could be a potential, just a different opportunity for people who learn in other ways or more hands-on, themselves, to not kind of deny themselves opportunities simply because they don't have that kind of way to learn in the way that they would like, as I so eloquently put.
Well put, very well put.
Say that.
Thank you.
Very nicely put.
Thank you very much.
Actually, Pete. Because something that one of the first things I learned when I went on an apprenticeship is about different learning styles. And I never put it together in my head, but I'm a sort of kinesthetic learner. I've got to be doing something, as most chefs are. They're very practical. They need to be building a burger to see how it looks. You can't just tell them this is what I want doing, or for a lot of them you can't. For me, you certainly can't. I can look at specs, I can read it, I can listen to a podcast about somebody building a burger, but until I get to do it myself, I'm not going to be able to do it. And that was one of the first things that I learned coming on the apprenticeships. And I was like, oh, actually, it's not that I've dropped out of uni because, it wasn't for me. Well, it wasn't for me. What am I trying to say? Pete,
I get your point. You're saying you're not trying to, it's not that the career path wasn't for you. It's just that the style of learning was, that probably wasn't the best path for you to go down.
It's more flexible, isn't it, apprenticeships?
Much better. Really nicely put again, Pete.
It's what I do, apparently. Thank you very much, guys. And so I guess just branching off from that, so specific to hospitality, how important do you think apprenticeships are for the industry?
I think they're massively huge part of any culture within hospitality. I think apprenticeships should be in bed from the start, if I'm totally honest. Obviously, it keeps me in a job. But what it also does is it's not just earn while you learn. I mean, it's a great strapline. It's absolutely great strapline because it's exactly what it says on the tin. But what they are then able to do is the amount of confidence that comes from an individual learner, somebody who could have learning difficulties or could be really anxious, doesn't like social situations. We bespoke our programs and we actually bring them out of sight and we take them on workshops. Sometimes they're online, sometimes they're face-to-face. And sometimes, yes, we do put them out of their comfort zone, but we make sure that we've got our arm around them, making sure that they're actually getting that hands-on support, and then they're actually like kinesthetic learning, that type of thing, as we know all of our chefs want and need. But the confidence that you see from people coming out is just unbelievable. Scott's one of them. I've seen him come from a kitchen team member, and now he's, is an integral part of my team, which, delivers the apprenticeship strategy year in and year out. We've got another learner who, wouldn't particularly like leaving the kitchen even to go out and get a drink, but he would quite happily now come and stand up and do presentations, going to EPA for his level 4. It's just, that's what fills me with joy when I see all of our learners coming through, is how confident they have become. And, they're now crying out to go on Scotty's podcast because they're like, oh, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what I've done. And it's great. It's great to see. And there is obviously a business impact. It's fantastic. Our retention figures are great when people are on an apprenticeship. But mainly for us as trainers, we love to see the fact that they are just confident and happy and proud of themselves, really proud of themselves.
It's almost as if you are having the confidence to invest in them before they have the confidence to invest in themselves. and then it builds them up from there, doesn't it, really? And I'm
really
sure that
does.
must be really, really nice to see, really fulfilling.
It is.
Great. Unless you had something to add, Scott, I'm going to swiftly move on.
No, I think that's really nicely covered it. That's why I wanted to be in this team. That's why I applied for the job, because Rhona directly helped me. So did Jodie, who was also in the team, and helped me progress. When I rejoined, was working in that kitchen on my first day. It's coming up 4 years ago now. Wow. I didn't think I'd be sat here. So that's why I joined, because I want to give others the same help that I got.
I mean, you even said you had it within the 18-month kind of timescale. You had quite a significant amount of growth there, which didn't happen without the pressure. I mean, like you were saying, Rhona, you do put them outside the comfort zone sometimes, but it is what is necessary to kind of make that next step, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it's important to be able to do that so they can see what they are capable of. Yeah, they're not, they're not just confined by four walls of a kitchen, and they are capable of doing much, much more, which is it's great.
Awesome. Okay, and if we talk specifics now, are you able to tell me how many apprentices that you currently have in your business?
Yes, we have, as a whole, I'm just trying to think, for chef wise, probably just under about 200. Okay. Between 150 and 200. I'm trying to think of, you've totally put me on the spot here.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
And then we have got about 50 apprentices for our pub support team, which has obviously only just been open under a year. That's been a learning curve for me as an apprenticeship manager, and trying to get our heads around different styles of apprenticeships. Right. But for our chef's apprentices, I'm sure it's about 150. Wow. It's coming up to 150. We've just enrolled some more onto it.
That's a lot. Sorry to put you on the spot there.
That's all right. Absolutely all right. Here's me giving you wrong figures.
Well, go fact check these afterwards.
Yeah, I better.
Okay. So next up, would you recommend apprenticeships in general? And the second part to that is, what are your top tips for anyone that is considering to use apprentices as part of their business? So would you recommend apprenticeships and advice? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd recommend apprenticeships. I've been on them, I've done them, I'm on them now. So as soon as I got signed off my level 4, which took me into this team, I got signed up for my Evo 5, which is a coaching qualification, which has been amazing. So, I feel like traditional, if we can use that word, sort of education, like you go to uni or you go to school, you get your you get your GCSEs, you get your A levels, you go to uni. It's all very linear, and I don't know, there's sort of like a stigma around, I can't learn because all the uni students are like 21 to 25, let's say, or 18 to 21, you know what I mean? That sort of general age. I wouldn't feel now, being 25, comfortable going back into that environment. But with an apprenticeship, you can learn at any age. So we've had some that were in the 60s, didn't we, Ro? Who were going on apprenticeships, getting signed off, learning new skills. I feel like it's not limited by anything. It's not limited by age. And there is a stigma around them. We still get that now. Some people go, no, that's just for like younger people. And it's not at all. So, yeah, I'd thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, sorry, Pete. I was just going to say that Scott's right. We had our youngest apprentice was 17 and our eldest was 61. So it just kind of shows the vast range of people who are willing to, take themselves out of the comfort zone and, self-develop themselves, because ultimately it's them that's actually doing all the work. And it's great. I completed my level 5 ops. I did that during lockdown as well as working. It did test me, but probably one of the best things I've done. I didn't realise how much I'd learned from it until I've come out of it, and now I'm actually utilising absolutely everything that I've learned in there, which has been a huge benefit. I do want to state about functional skills as well, because I think plays a huge part about it. People worry about English and maths, and why do I need to do my GCSEs and things like that. But they're a life skill that is needed, and as long as it's contextualized, then you'll be absolutely fine. Our chefs do use maths and English when placing orders, utilizing specs, lots and lots of different things, working out how much beer money they've got left after the wage packets come in. They absolutely utilize it. It is. It's all maths. But just you know, the training providers, and I know us as a group, we really ring fence that, and we want to make sure that our learners know that they're not by themselves. We have great functional skills support. We have revision packs that we give our guys. We'll spend time with them and kind of go through English and maths mock tests and things like that to make sure that they are also comfortable with it as well. But it's well worth it. If you think you're walking in with no English or maths GCSEs, you're actually walking out with 3 qualifications, an apprenticeship, and then your English and maths functional skills as well. It's great.
Which are, you know, are not specific to any particular industry. Like you said, they're necessary skills wherever you go. So that's fantastic. You're building them not just, well, of course, you're building them to hopefully stay with you guys and stay in the industry. But I mean, if anything changes and they need to move on, it hasn't been a waste of investment for themselves either. Yeah.
And what we find is that when people are already engaged, they'll get themselves on an apprenticeship. They want to keep learning. They've enjoyed it. And they, you know, same with Scott, our newest recruit, Mike, who's just joined my team as well. He's done all 3. You know, he's done exactly the same, and we find that our what we call our natural progression onto the next level is really big.
Yeah, fantastic. And so maybe I'll get an answer from both of you. It'd be interesting to see from both sides. But what would you say to somebody who was thinking about starting an apprenticeship for themselves?
I would say speak to whoever your line manager is first. And think about what your end goal is, because then that will help you direct what route you want to go down. So if it is like our guys, I want to become more proficient in the kitchen, it could be that production chef is absolutely right for you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of functional skills. Don't be scared of the initial assessments or diagnostics. They're not a test. You know, they're just there to make sure that you're going on the right program and that you know you're going to be supported right the way throughout. It'll probably be one of the most fulfilling things that you do, and because you might think that you're not capable of anything, but actually, you know, you've at whatever age you've got yourself an extra qualification after it.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a fantastic point. Scott, have you got something to say?
Yeah.
From the other side, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I would always recommend them. Things to be conscious of is, how do you learn? If you do learn by doing practical things, or if you do learn by contextualizing things. So for me, I've got to understand why something is going to be useful for me to be able to fully learn that thing. Otherwise, I lose interest. I'm not that bothered about it. I'll shelve it. If it's really specific to my role, or if it's specific to some other area of my life, as apprenticeships often are, it doesn't, say for our level 4, for example, covers leadership. Now, that's not just leadership in the kitchen. It's also leadership outside of the kitchen. It works in my new role, even though I'm not in kitchens every day now. It works in my personal life. You know, there's a lot of scope. It's not just although it's going to be centered on whatever role you're going for in that apprenticeship, there are sort of external benefits to it as well. So consider that. But as Rose said, end in mind, where do you want to go? Speak to your line manager. If you've got an amazing apprenticeship manager, as we do in Stonegate, then speak to them. Reach out to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just see what your options are as well.
Yeah. No, I think like great points from both of you, really. Just knowing where your end goal is, and then like you were saying, Scott, knowing kind of how you personally the best path for you to get there. Because I mean, apprenticeships, there is not necessarily one path you can go down. There's many paths you can choose to go down. So you're absolutely right to make sure you're making the correct investment for yourself and for the company as well. You want to end up in the right place, right? You don't want to do the whole process and then end up with a job that you're like, actually, this is not what I wanted to do. But I mean, as you equally said, none of those skills are so specific that you can't transfer them to, you know, to other places should you need to.
Absolutely. The opportunities are endless with apprenticeships. Absolutely endless.
Fantastic advice. Investment as well, Pete. It absolutely is an investment in yourself. Like, they're not cheap, but they are so worth doing. Obviously, we would never make our apprentices pay for it. We pay for it as a business. It's our investment in them. Yeah. But it's so massive. Like, it's not about the money at all. It's about the growth.
No, exactly. And if you don't invest in your people, then how do you expect them to invest in themselves? I mean, if they do invest in themselves, they're not going to want to give that back to you if you've not, you know, done the same for them, right? So it is a partnership. It works hand in hand. And I think that's amazing. So I did say we were going to loop back around to kind of your glory moments at the NITAs earlier this year. So just a couple questions regarding that. Can I just ask a more general? I mean, were you both physically at the event?
Yes, we were.
Yeah. Great. Because I mean, you know, I don't think we quite saw each other then.
Yeah, can't quite remember it, but yeah,
I
it
think
definitely
we were.
was. Yeah.
I remember getting there.
I took the award, so yeah, I was here.
You remember that part, do you?
Yeah.
That's great. We probably have photos of that somewhere in case you've forgotten.
I think Molly sent them to me. Yeah.
Wonderful. So could you just tell me how was your experience at the NITAs and of course winning the best training program for apprenticeships?
It was amazing. We had entered before. We've been finalists quite a few times. Which was something that myself and Jamal had started. I think we applied back in 2019, I think it was. And it was something that we kept applying for, and Molly was going, yeah, this is great, even though, you know, you've not won, but you keep applying. And we're like, no, because we've got something new this year. Want to share what we've got. So it was a big one for us to win. During lockdown, I actually won the Training Manager of the Year award as well. It was great because it was all virtual, so I didn't actually have to go up and get an award.
Oh, you didn't like that part?
No, it's horrendous. I would probably sit behind a screen and just go, yay.
I imagine it's a bit stressful having to go up with everyone watching you.
Yeah, and I had heels on. I don't, Doc Martens or heels. I don't really walk well.
Heels and a couple drinks and a stage don't mix too well.
I don't think I drank till after, actually, just thinking.
Yeah. Sorry to make assumptions there.
No, I was absolutely, I did drink. I'm lying. No,
you celebrated.
Absolutely, we did, and we went to town. We were finalists as Stonegate Group in I think the majority of the categories, if I'm honest. We had 6 finalists basically. Scott was a finalist for Apprentice of the Year, and one of our other wonderful master chefs, as we call them, our level 4 apprentices, Sandra, she was a finalist as well. Jamel was a finalist for HR Manager of the Year, and Jodie, who's also in our team, she was a finalist for Training Manager of the Year as well. And we also had AIMS in as a training programme. So we were absolutely delighted and honoured by the fact that we've made the final in all of those. This is the one, the training programme, the apprenticeship training programme was the one that I wanted, and I know Jamel wanted it as well, just purely because we've all, all 5 of us have put our heart and soul into creating, bespoking, working with training managers, looking after our chefs, making sure, because it's tough out there. It's really tough at the minute, and it has been for a long time, in kitchens especially. So to actually win something that they can actually go, bloody hell, I was a part of that as well. That was what was really, really important to us. And I had some great feedback from our final presentation from different owners of businesses as well, which to me could be even bigger than winning the trophy. So just the fact that we've been acknowledged by other people, it's just absolutely amazing. I'm really sorry there's
no, that's fine. My lights have just turned off. I don't know if you guys noticed, so I'm kind of sitting in the dark at the moment. I mean, there's a little bit of shine coming in from the side.
Winning it was an absolute triumph for all of us, and you can probably see by the grins on our faces with the final photographs, we were absolutely delighted for that.
And I just thought it's amazing that you you're saying you were applying and then getting to the finals and reapplying because it shows that you are not only persistent and but you actually believe in yourselves and you're well, of course, not only but like you said, you were adding something new. You weren't just kind of doing the same thing and expecting different results. Each year you had something new to share and you believed in it, and it's paid off, and you've got that recognition for it.
The hospitality industry changes so often that you can't keep stagnant with any kind of training. There's technology coming in, there's obviously the pandemic, we had to adapt so quickly. So the fact that we opened up a pathway for pub support team at the same time, and then also making sure that chefs had everything that they needed, you can't keep still, you've got to kind of keep going. You have to keep looking and thinking, what's coming next, how do we adapt this program you know, who we're going to offer it out to now. You know, is there something that we can do for our deputy managers? There's lots of different things, and you know, we'll probably enter again next year because we've got loads of things coming up as well.
Yes, that's what we like to hear.
Good.
Rhona, I actually did. I mean, you kind of already have answered this. You stole my final question, which was to ask you about your experience winning the Training Professional of the Year. Like you said, over the lockdown a couple of years back.
It was a bit of a shock. Lee told me that my big boss told me to apply. We'd done, because it was lockdown, I'd worked right the way through to try and keep engagement high with kitchen team members, because we opened up our apprenticeship pathway. It was still open. When we shut down, we didn't stop training, we continued that, which was a big thing for us, really, because we could see that other training providers were closing down just purely because we couldn't get out to meet everybody. We worked with our training provider Remit to adapt to virtual online visits. Can we keep them engaged? And obviously the funding rule had said that, yeah, you can absolutely keep on training, which was great. Yep. I did spend a lot of time, you know, listening to our chefs and kind of thinking about different things. They opened my eyes to different ways of training as well. So yeah, when I put in my application, I was quite surprised to be a finalist, if I'm honest. And then I just remember my presentation, stood at the kitchen table, because I just bought myself a new laptop stand, and I thought it was the best thing ever, because I wasn't into technology, couldn't work Zoom, couldn't do Microsoft Teams. Now I'm a whiz at it. But yeah,
that's what 2 years of lockdown will do to you.
It is, and if anything, now I'm proficient at Microsoft Teams. So
yeah, there we go.
Pretty good.
Hasn't been fruitless.
Absolutely not. But it was an honour. It was a real honour, and like I said to you previously, I really enjoyed it because I didn't have to go to a ceremony and stand up in front of everybody. But it was really good. I got again, obviously, some great feedback. And I got sent my wonderful trophy that's sitting pride of place in my front room. I'm refusing to take it to our academy because I'm like, no, it's mine.
It's mine. It's got my name on it.
Mine. My one. I'll share the group one. The training one, but yeah, this one's mine. So yeah,
hey, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Next time, if you enter the awards, we'll maybe we'll get a laptop stand. If you don't want to get up on stage, we'll put you up there.
I'll sit at the table with my drink, and we'll do that. That sounds good. Thanks.
We'll have that arranged, maybe. Scott, yourself, do you plan to enter any I guess any of these types of things? It doesn't have to be the NITAs. That's a little while off.
I never planned to, but Rhona always lets us know that something's coming up. We're all the same, really. It's all, no, like, no, I'm not bothered. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then everyone else in the team's like, no, you're applying because you've got something worthwhile, you've added value, you've done this, this, and this. You know, really sell yourself and sell your achievements and say, actually, I am quite proud of myself for doing this.
Yeah.
So if something pops up, then I'll think about it. That's for certain.
I will see your name somewhere soon. Then I'm sure.
Yeah, I imagine
put you into something. Yeah.
We're proud of what we do, though. So I think you know, we probably could even shout about it even more. But you know, apprenticeships aren't a thing that's going away, and it's probably good that the government are putting kind of focus on it as well. So, you know, apprenticeships are definitely here to stay within our business. So it is a good thing that we're out and shouting about it as well. So gets recognition for our learners, as well as Scotty, obviously, so you can get up in there.
And it's great that you sounds like you have a very I mean, I think having a supportive team is a big part of that. You know, like you said, you might not even put yourselves forward for something, you might not think to put yourselves forward for something, and just having that team there to say, no, actually you do deserve this, and you should put yourself forward, I think is what it takes sometimes for some people, isn't it? Just a little nudge of confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah. When someone tells you that you're doing a good job, there's nothing, no better feeling.
Yeah. Guys, that was all I had planned for today, but if you had anything that you wanted to mention.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. I nearly forgot, Pete. So we also have our own podcast. It's called The Kitchen Sink, SYNC. It's on Spotify. Do go and give it a listen. I am going to be inviting you to come and join us as well and speak to us. On there, we talk about all things apprenticeship, all things kitchen. We've branched out a bit now. We've got other departments involved saying, right, what do you do? How do you help the business? What's your job? Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and so on and so forth. And that's continuing. We speak to the risk team as well quite a lot and get some stuff out. We've got some exciting things coming with them. It started off as just like me and Jodie having a bit of a chat, and now it's branched into something much bigger than I think we ever thought it would be. We've got some of our apprentices on there as well. So we do spotlight sessions with them. Tell us about yourself. When did you join the company? How did you get on with your apprenticeship? Which ones have you done? Are you planning on doing any more? So on and so forth. And really taking us through their journey, because that's what it is really, isn't it? It's never linear. There's always bits and bobs coming in, and it's how they deal with them through what they've learned on their apprenticeships. So those ones are really, really interesting. Maybe my favourite. But I couldn't say that.
Great little plug there. And where can they find that? It's the Kitchen Sink podcast. Where can they get that?
So that's on Spotify. If you go on Spotify and search the Kitchen Sink, it'll pop up. It's got a little Albert on it.
Fantastic.
Real heroes wear Chef White's tagline underneath.
Wonderful. That shouldn't be too hard to find then, I guess. Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us on today's talk, guys. I don't know if this is a podcast or not yet, but
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the BII's Not Just a Pub podcast. We are delighted to bring you stories from inspirational people at the heart of our industry, sharing best practice and showcasing the incredible work they do. You can find out more at bii.org, but follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn to be the first to tune in to our newest episodes.